Welcome back to Body Blueprint. Today, we are diving into a topic that is so important, but one we honestly tend to ignore until it's way too late, and that's the strength in our legs. It turns out the foundation of our longevity might literally be, well, our foundation. Okay, let's get right into it. This is one of those quiet truths about getting older. It doesn't always start with fuzzy memories or a few wrinkles. So often, it actually starts in our legs. This slow, gradual loss of strength, it can creep up on you, leading to a loss of balance and control. And that's what sets the stage for something much more dangerous. This isn't just a minor issue. It's a massive warning sign.
And that warning sign leads to this pretty shocking number, 50%. Now, this number, it represents a really grim reality for way too many people. It's not just a statistic. It's a critical, flashing red light about what can happen when our foundation starts to give way.
So what is that 50%? It's the mortality rate within just 1 year for elderly folks who suffer a hip fracture from a fall. You heard that right. A simple fall can kick off a truly devastating chain reaction. And this really shows you the domino effect perfectly. It all starts with the fall, the physical trauma of a fracture. From there, that leads to immobility. Maybe you're stuck in bed for a while. But here's the part we don't talk about enough. Movement is one of the main ways we send signals to our brain to keep it sharp. So when that movement stops, the brain, it's kind of like a muscle you put in a cast. It just begins to waste away. So the stakes are obviously incredibly high, but when you go looking for solutions online, what do you find? Usually a whole lot of confusing, really superficial, and sometimes just plain wrong advice.
We hear all this stuff like, oh, eat sweet potatoes for potassium, or oats are great for energy. And look, it's not that those foods are bad, but that kind of one-note advice completely misses the bigger picture. It treats our bodies like a simple car engine, Put in gas, it goes. But we're so much more complex than that.
So here's the absolute key takeaway. Real strength isn't just about how big your muscles are. It's all about the connection between your brain and your muscles. If your nervous system is inflamed, that's a state we call neuroinflammation. Those signals from your brain get fuzzy and weak. You can have all the muscle in the world, but as the source material puts it so well, a muscle is just a steak without the right nerve signal telling it to contract. And that is exactly why we need a better plan, a real blueprint that looks at the whole system, your muscles, your nerves, and that underlying inflammation. So let's check that out now and see how we can build a much more complete picture of strength. Here it is. Instead of getting lost focusing on single nutrients, we're going to focus on these 4 key pillars. First, you need the right fuel for energy. Then you need the building blocks, like protein to repair and build tissue. You also need catalysts, vitamins and minerals, to make all the chemical reactions happen. And maybe most importantly, you need support for the signals, the communication that makes everything work together. Okay, so that's the blueprint. That's the what. Now, let's get to the how. How do we actually build with it? Let's get really practical and look at the specific foods that deliver on these 4 pillars and can truly help us build and maintain our strength for the long haul. We're going to start with what I call the heavy hitters. These are foods that are not only packed with high-quality protein for your muscles, but they also have these key nutrients that directly support your nervous system. These are truly the foundational foods for strength. First on the list, eggs. And please, you have to eat the yolk. That's where you find leucine, which is an amino acid that literally flips the switch for muscle growth, and choline, which is crucial for building the neurotransmitters that fire your muscles. Next up, wild salmon. It's the best source out there for EPA and DHA fats, which are absolute powerhouses for fighting inflammation. And finally, grass-fed beef. It gives you creatine for quick energy and that highly absorbable iron to get oxygen to your muscles. All right, now let's build on top of that strong foundation. Because think about it, building muscle doesn't do much good if your body is constantly fighting a war against inflammation or if you can't even absorb the nutrients from your food properly. These next foods are going to tackle that problem head-on. Full-fat yogurt gives you probiotics that help create a healthy gut, which is basically the gateway to absorbing everything else you eat. Then there's bone broth. It's loaded with collagen for your joints and glycine, which helps calm down that systemic inflammation. And of course, leafy greens. They've got these things called polyphenols that your good gut bacteria love to eat, plus nitrates that actually improve blood flow to your muscles. And this is where it all comes together.
We've got the building blocks, we've got the system support, now we need the finishers. These are the foods that bring in all those specific vitamins, minerals, and compounds that really fine-tune our whole neuromuscular system for amazing balance and coordination.
Okay, check this out. Berries have compounds that boost something called BDNF. The best way to think of BDNF is like Miracle-Gro for your brain. It actually helps you form new nerve connections. Then you've got nuts and seeds, which are packed with magnesium and zinc, two minerals that are absolutely critical for muscle contraction. And finally, avocado. It delivers those healthy fats to keep fighting inflammation and gives you vitamin B6, which your body needs to create those all-important neurotransmitter signals.
So, as we wrap this up, here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Are you just eating healthy foods, or are you strategically eating foods that support the entire system of strength, all the way from the muscle fiber to the nerve signal firing from your brain? Because building a body that truly lasts isn't about finding one magic ingredient. It's about having the right blueprint.